Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the JKWD podcast, Quarantine Edition. It is Friday, the 20th of March, 2020, for release on the 23rd. And I tell you that in case we say things like numbers and information, because that'll be out of date by the time you hear this on Monday.
I was going to say, even on Monday, yeah.
Or if you listen to this in 6 months or a year or a decade or in 400 years, if the human species is still around.
And just because we see the pandemic is coming, it may be one then, but not this one.
Kelvin, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. I'm glad to see you coughing into your sleeve.
Oh, yeah, man. I think there's actually a nerve reflex right now because it just automatically goes. I'm hoping nobody's ever like leaning on my arm when I have to cough, because I'm probably going to break their neck when my arm comes up. But yeah, I noticed. I don't know when I picked up that habit, but it wasn't something they had to teach me this time. I don't know. Might have been manners from a previous time in life or something, instead of just blowing germs across the room. But I'm doing good, man. It's we got some stuff going on here, and based on what I'm seeing around the world, what I got to say is it could be way worse.
Yeah, it could. Italy's having a very rough time of it right now. Yeah, they enforced everybody home, and they're having hundreds of deaths a day at the moment. So
we don't have that here right now, anyway.
Not yet. So hopefully people get smart and listen to the. Yeah, just
listen to our podcast.
Be smart about it.
We were only in my county. We were up to 17 cases. No, that's a lie. 8 cases the other day. No deaths as yet.
Yeah, we don't have.
That's the county. That's not the state. That's not the
right. Yeah, you get. State, yeah. But we've got a bunch in our state. Nothing confirmed in the county yet. Although we're 25 minutes away from release of the numbers here in Georgia.
Okay.
They update at noon every day, but whatever day-to-day counts don't really matter for this podcast. Which of course is brought to you by our friends at Kettle on Fire. If you want 10% off your order of bone broth and soup and all kinds of good stuff, guess what? You don't have to go to the grocery store for it, although you can. They won't give you 10% off your order, though. You can probably get it for, they're in a lot of grocery stores now, but they want to give you 10% off if you go to checkout and use code BetterHumanhood. And what they do is bone broths and soups and that kind of stuff, and they will package it up for you nice, and they will send it to you in a plane and a truck and whatever it takes to get it to you, and they'll just leave it at your door, so you don't have to worry about going out in a crowd.
Yes.
kettleandfire.com, kettleandfire.com. When you go to checkout, use code BetterHumanhood. They'll give you 10% off. And let's do the show. Josh and Kelvin World Domination Podcast, where we talk about better humanhood and teach you how to dominate your world. You ready? Here we go. So, like a lot of people, I've been on information overload, and I'm sure that if you listen to last week's podcast, I told you a little bit, but I've probably taken in 500 stories during my shifts over the week, and another however many I get, just scrolling through Twitter occasionally, and then my local stuff because that's important, and I'm not getting it during work because um, none of those publications are local to me. So uh, I can get a little frazzled over here. I joined a call the other night uh, with from Stephen Kotler's Flow Research Center, and it was about kind of keeping performance and focus and flow during this time. When we're kind of constantly bombarded uh, with messages that can induce fear and that often can be confusing and that distract us from doing the work. Yeah, he's a writer, and he said that he has found that he dedicates more time to writing, but is still consistent with his word count. So he aims for 700 words a day, and he has doubled and sometimes tripled the amount of time he dedicates, but still writes about 700 words a day.
Oh, wow.
Which means that he's also facing, he's also feeling some of that fear and distraction because it's taking him a lot longer to come up with the same output. So I thought that was a good place to kind of start. Everybody's going to kind of be home probably for a while. We are not meant to be cooped up with the same people 24 hours a day. We are not meant to be cooped up by ourselves for 24 hours.
Say, even when those same people are just me.
Yeah, well, the worst thing that we do to humans is put them in solitary confinement in prison. That's so we live in a time where we are lucky to have video conferencing platforms where we can like we use Zoom, and that is free sometimes. And then there's Skype, and there's FaceTime and WhatsApp and all kinds of free services that we can actually look at each other and spend some time connecting and not be so alone. And there are some people going out in the street and just shouting up the block to their neighbors. You don't have to come into contact with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw a video from Italy of whole apartment blocks opening their windows and singing the same song together.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. So there are ways to connect when you're inside.
Cool. I hadn't thought about that one.
Yeah.
Our house is a little far apart. I'm not sure how the neighbors would handle half the stuff I say.
Yeah, well, but, same, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we still try to get out and walk with the dog, walk with the baby, and get some sunshine. And it's springtime here. It is beautiful out. Be ashamed to just look at it out a window.
True enough.
But are you doing anything different in your day or in your routines or with your mindset or anything like that? I mean, is you are a very different consumer of information than I am.
Very much so. And as a matter of fact, I cut off news at about 1989. I stopped watching news. So, I mean, a lot of stuff happens as a surprise to me, and it's okay when it's a surprise to me. Unfortunately, I have a lot of people around me who are plugged into everything.
Right.
So I get it even when I don't want it, but at least I can control it. So for me right now, I spend a lot of time, considering what a social person I actually am, I still spend a lot of time alone. I write, I read, I hunt down photography on the computer and stuff like that. So I'm not doing anything significantly different than I was doing. I mean, I have a meditation routine, a little off of it right now. I keep reading positive things to keep that going into my head. So my overall attitude is pretty positive. I don't
Mm-hmm.
worry, like I'm not worried about this. I'm aware of it. I know what's happening. I'm plugged into what we need to do, but I'm just not allowing myself to worry about it. So every once in a while, something will sneak in. I'll get a stray pain. um, but probably my biggest go-to, if I decide to get stressed, is I love smooth jazz, and that music can take me out of just about any mood, and then we just bring the reality phase of life back into, what are the facts across here. Try not to get too upset about them,
Right.
because there's nothing we can do about them, and then just go like that. So, and that's basically my general routine, and that's working here. When this first started happening, yeah, I was really tuned in, because the people around me are like really tuned in to the
Right.
minutia of what's going on here. But I don't. I limit the impact from the impact and the income from them. Also, I will say you are my friend who has the most news, so it's probably not fair to you. But when I really want to know something, I tend to text you.
Right.
Like, is
And
this something I need to pay attention to?
you're right. And I'm usually pretty good about not responding to those if I'm not working.
Oh,
Um,
and great. Please.
right. And I know you're not offended by that.
Mm.
And that's probably a good practice for anybody. If somebody needs something, they'll call you. Text is not a contemporaneous communication platform.
Mm.
It's like I treat text like email. I don't know how, I don't treat text as any more urgent than email. So,
Right.
sometime, if you need something now, text, call me,
Yeah.
because I might get back to you right now on a text, but I might not.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. People apologize to me for not answering my text, and I said no. Text like Easter eggs. When you get one that's good, fine. If it's really important, I'll call you.
yeah.
So you've always been good at. I know you sent me this the other day that you go to. Oh, let me back up one more time.
Yeah.
My meditation routine. Actually, the people I've been meditating with is I've got some stuff from MindValley, which Vishen Lakshmi. He was. Well, MindValley also puts out now they absorbed the Silva Method,
Okay.
Silva
Yep.
Method. So I've been doing meditating with those guys all the time, and then I've learned just from my practice over time. I read a lot of The Power of Now. So those types of things, my meditation practice keeps me kind of grounded, and I've learned not to run too far off into the woods when something happens. So,
Right.
and to date, that strategy has worked well for me. And at the moment, I see no need of changing it. And strangely enough, I have a lot of people who uh, come to me to help calm them down and stuff. So, which
Good.
is that's its own issue.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to, in the act of calming them down, you have to not take on their stress.
Exactly. And that's
Because both those things are contagious, right? If you hold a crying baby in a very calm, soothing manner, the baby will calm down. But if you hold a calm baby and you get nervous and fearful, then that kind of spreads too.
spread to the baby. Yep.
It'll make a calm baby upset.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what we do there.
So I had kind of gotten out of my meditation routine,
Mm-hmm.
and I am working on not necessarily bringing back in a block of meditation,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but occasional breath work.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then, if I'm just feeling it, I'm just going to drop everything and take 3-4 deep breaths.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can take deep breaths, especially with long exhales
Mm-hmm.
and holds here and there, then it means that it signals your brain that you're not panicked.
Mm-hmm.
And your brain will calm down. I also just learned about something called breath of fire,
Mm.
which is a Kundalini yoga practice.
Okay.
And I went and I saw what it looks like, and it's going to take some learning.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like it's most people do when you take especially a deep breath,
Mm-hmm.
you tend to take a very noisy inhale, very noisy active inhale,
Mm-hmm.
and a long, slow, quiet exhale. And
Mm-hmm.
this is it's short breaths, but it's the opposite. So your inhale is passive, but your exhale is noisy and active.
Really? Okay.
And but it's done at a breath or two a second.
Mm-hmm.
So like inhale plus exhale in a
Oh,
second.
wow.
So it's a very quick thing. So it's a
Sounds like a good way to get dizzy.
yeah, exactly. They really, when you first start this, you're probably going to get dizzy but it can bring about energy. And it's, with its speed, it's good for your cardiovascular health,
Mm-hmm.
which actually is a good thing in this,
In a
with this
situation.
particular virus going around. It seems to abnormally affect people in poor cardiovascular health.
Yeah.
The other breath work that I've done that I'm not currently doing, but there's not any particular reason other than lack of focus, is the Wim Hof method, and it winds up taking about 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay.
And what this is, we'll have it in a show notes, and you can look it up so that you get a better idea. But what this is you inhale fully, and then you only partially exhale, and then inhale again. And you
Yeah.
do that 30 times, and then you let everything out of your lungs, and then you just hold as long as you can. He
That
tells
sounds like
people,
work.
yeah, well, and that takes a long time to do. He tells
Yeah.
people that while you're holding your breath, that after you exhale and
Uh-huh.
hold your breath, just for fun, get down, do as many push-ups as you can. And you find that you get a lot more energy out of it. Um, that if you could normally do a set of 15 push-ups or whatever, that you might get 20 or 25, just because of the way your breath works. And this guy is he's an outlier. There are certain biological rules that we all generally follow, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, there seems to be anomalies amongst us. He has summited Everest barefoot, without a shirt, and no supplemental oxygen.
I'm sorry. One more time.
He has summited Everest
Uh-huh.
barefoot, no shirt, no supplemental oxygen.
Wow.
So he just did some breathing, ran up to the top, and came back down. Um,
Oh, you make that sound so easy. Wow.
right. So
That's
so
pretty.
he's an anomaly. Like
Yeah.
he says he can teach people this, but you got to be probably in exceptional shape anyway
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
to do that. To not come back with frostbite and everything. Like he holds some crazy records. Like he went to go set the record for an under ice swim,
Uh-huh.
and he missed the hole to come back up.
Oh.
So he extended his underwater swim record by a considerable amount.
Trying to find the, oh my
Trying to, yeah.
goodness.
So, yeah, I don't know whether he was trying like 600 meters or something like that. It might not have been that long. That sounds like a very long way. But, wherever the hole he was going to resurface, he swam way past it and had to come back to it.
Oh, there's a test for you.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're doing it under ice, then it means that not only are you holding your breath and not surfacing to breathe in the middle, but you're also in very cold water.
Yeah, that too. I think I can say with reasonable certainty that I will not be trying out for that one.
No, no, the breath work, yes. The
The underwater ice, no.
athletic
Uh,
accomplishment, not so much.
yeah, I'm sorry. Getting to my mailbox some days is my test.
Yeah.
you know, wow, that's pretty interesting. On the breathing thing, it's an anomaly for me. I find that generally I breathe very shallowly,
Okay.
not fast. I mean, it's a slow breath, but it's not fast. So when I do the meditations and I have to do the breathing work, I mean, I'm really expanding my lungs and expanding my chest and stuff. But generally, just sitting here, I have fairly shallow breathing, and I've looked at those things where, I mean, we do those exercises, and I do, but when I finish, I come back to the shallow breathing. I don't have any problem with that. It's not. Sometimes I do the other exercises where, like Tony Robbins, when I was first reading um, Unlimited Power, he had a breathing exercise to get more. I mean, to get more energy out of breathing, where he would just breathe in, fill up your lungs as much as you could, and just hold it for, say, 20, 30 seconds, because
Mm-hmm.
that was, uh, as I remember the reading, that was basically you getting all the oxygen you can out of that breath, and then you let it back out, and you do that a few times. That's not how you lived your life, but when you were doing your meditation exercise, and I've done that a few times, but generally speaking, I breathe fairly shallow, and I don't seem to be having a problem with it. Um, but then when I do the other breathing exercises, particularly the guided ones, they are intentional, and I follow that routine, and I find that works also. I don't know that I've gotten a huge boost out of it
Mm-hmm.
as far as the breathing is concerned, but what I have discovered as far as the meditation is concerned, you don't have to meditate for a long time. Uh,
Right.
a lot of the guru, if you can get in 2-3 good minutes of just breathe, clear your mind, that helps.
Yeah.
That really
It
helps.
also helps with your focus too,
Yeah.
which is something that a lot of people have issues with. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about today is, the breath work, focus, great, meditation, great, but that's all solo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are going to be inside with their loved ones, um, far past the date where they might not be so loved anymore.
I've heard stories about circumstances like that.
So, we're not meant to spend 24 hours at a time with each other, 4 days on end, and we're going to be in the house with our spouses and our kids. So this is a good time to set routines and to connect and to play games and work on development and um, find creative ways to not spend all day watching TV,
Right.
because that it becomes an option. We try to. What we've done is we've started. We did a very limited screen time with the baby for her first year. If she had to be sitting next to me while I was working, she saw screens because physical proximity.
Mm-hmm.
And we would put her on. on her lap while we're on a call with you, so you could see her. And we do the same with her grandparents. But now what we've done is we've started to implement, since the start of nap time seems to be variable.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of that, we put her in a play set, in a little penned off area where she can play with her blocks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We turn on a Disney movie or an animated film that isn't over the top grossly for kids, so that the adults don't go nuts.
Yes, and Fern Gully is not in the.
I don't know. Like, we could probably watch that. I haven't. It's not something I've seen lately. But we're not watching Barney. We're not watching anything with kids song. Exactly.
Yeah.
We put on some Pixar stuff or something like that. And that way it provides a time for the adults to sit and get quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And for her to transition into I'm done playing, I'm kind of getting sleepy, and then we can put her on her lap so that she can see the thing and give her a bottle, and eventually either she falls asleep or she gets so cranky that it's obvious she's going to fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what she's getting for screen time. And then sometimes we'll watch a show at night, but we try to wait until after she's in bed. And so that's what she gets for screen time, and we want to make sure that we're not spending a lot of time watching TV, especially over these next couple of weeks, because it's not good for the developing brain.
No,
it's not good for our brains either, but at least we have some agency over what we accept in. And sometimes I'll sit there with a book while the TV's on. I don't need to tune into Ice Age for the 400th time. But you raised your hand like you wanted to say something.
I always want to say something. I was going to say, I mean, a lot of the news that I listen to when they're talking to these parents about staying home with their kids, talking about, get involved in their education, teach them something.
Yeah, exactly.
Help them learn. And this thought is, some of the stuff they're teaching kids today, we didn't do it that way when we were coming up. But what I was about to say about Marlena was the last couple of times we've had a podcast, I'm noticing that she's gotten a lot more expressive. She used to sit quietly, until she was unhappy, and then she would kind of cry. And now she's doing happy laughing. She's like playing, like kind of taunting, even to create some kind of expression. So one of the things, and I was probably horrible at this as a parent. All my kids are grown now and long gone, but we don't spend a lot of time actually talking to our family.
Right. We spend even less now that we've got
having a conversation. I remember as a child, we always had family dinners. I don't know how many people are actually having family dinners anymore. Of course, ours were interesting. We put the 7 of us at a table, and my father was a minister, so we had like a routine to go through. So it wasn't just a conversation, but just having the time to sit and talk with our kids and family, just about nothing in particular, just the weather or how they're feeling, or because it's easy to get into the routine of talking about the problem with the family too, instead of just enjoying the person, enjoying the heart that's inside that body that we've been doing all the structure stuff with. So learning to do that, getting back to that, that may be some great exercise that people can take right now, because communication one-to-one is getting to be a lost art with texting and TVs and all that other stuff, and just having a conversation. One of the reasons about the only reason I have people over is because I want to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
you and I get together, and even when we're not on a podcast, we talk about stuff and whatever that is. So I one of my biggest problems with humanity is not being able to have a good conversations a lot of times these days. And if I can't have one, chances are I won't invite them over twice.
Now,
You know, so that and the families. A few months ago, I had some, and this is not related to this per se, but I'm sure there's a lot of stress waiting on the fringes to come in with the stuff we're going through. But my son came over one day, my baby boy, and it was just he came in, he sat down, he said, "I'm I'm worried about you. I've been listening at you lately, and you've been talking about stress, and you've been talking about these things going on, and I'm a little worried about you. Let's have a conversation." Which was really wild. I mean, I'm sitting there with just kind of looking at him like, who is this kid? Did I actually raise him? You know, and we had just a talk, and we hadn't had a talk like that in a lot of years. And I was really happy that he actually cared enough to do that. I was really pleased at the man he had become to have those conversations with me. So you probably can't do that with a 4-year-old, but I think sometimes as parents we forget that we can actually have better conversations with our young kids than we think we can.
yeah, and it's a good time to let them run the conversation and see where their mind's at. And, and if you have multiple kids, it's a good time to be able to spend a little time one-on-one with each day. And, if you can work out with your partner, if you're not a single parent, if you can work out some time for yourself on top of it, then great.
Yeah.
We haven't been in the position yet where we've spent a bunch of days at home together, but it's coming. We will have started by the time the podcast launches. But let's spend a little time for ourselves. If we want to spend a little time reading, if we want to spend a little time writing, let's cut out some time for that in our day. Let's give each other blocks of time where we can be adults with ourselves,
Right.
because we don't get a lot of that time.
Yeah. So there's a lot of in the world of positive mental attitude and such, we look at a lot of opportunities and we tend to look at the downside of them. So, turning that around now to say, instead of saying, "Oh God, I can't go to work because I've got to get this quarantine," we can turn that around to, okay, so what things can I do now for my family? What can I make this relationship better? Can I get a deeper understanding of my family or friends, if that's how that goes. We forget about that. We've gotten to be such a complex world.
Yeah, for sure.
We really, really, really forget the strictly human side of things. And I think it's a good opportunity for us to get back to knowing each other and the humanity of each other, and just remembering who we were and who we are.
I think that's a great place to wind up. Getting back to humanity. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your wisdom as always. Thank you to our friends at Kettle and Fire, kettleandfire.com. Use code BetterHumanhood when you go to check out. I'll give you 10% off. And jkwdpodcast.com for show notes, etc. And we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. Show notes and more at jkwdpodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your friends, and we will see you next week. Bye. A Better Humanhood production.